Okay, the guys are working on this. I want to point out the flowers in today's service. On the altar, Houlton is in bloom. A little late this year, but came to bloom earlier this week. And there's a bouquet of flowers on the altar. And Nicole found, what are these, Nicole? Azaleas on the way to the service down the road. There's also a fresh bowl of I'm on number 4. If you can help me out. Okay. So I want to thank Jim and Dale for bringing the begonias on the front step of the church as you come into the main entrance. They'll be here through the summer. Again, it's one of our traditions here. And also a new hanging donated, gifted to the church by Catherine. And for today, for Flower Communion, it's on the organ loft rail. Just a beautiful featuring flowers. Thank you, Catherine. And we're looking for a space in the parlor or the sanctuary to find a place for it to hang. Also, our wind chimes are back. Also a tradition for Flower Communion Sunday. Compliments of Fred and Lee Griffith. And it adds a nice touch. In the background, the oscillating breeze from the parlor will sound the chimes off and on during the course of the service. It's great to have Dale here this morning. And for our prelude this morning is Waltz of the Flowers from the Nutcracker. opening words this morning come from Barbara Kingsolver, a Pulitzer Prize-winning American novelist, essayist, and poet, author of Poisonwood Bible and The Bean Trees. This poem is titled, A Single Glorious Thing. In my own worst seasons, I have come back from the colorless world of despair by forcing myself to look hard for a long time at a single glorious thing. A flame of red geranium outside my bedroom window, my daughter in a bright yellow dress, the perfect outline of a full dark sphere behind the crescent moon. I look hard until I have once taught myself joy over and over again. For a moment of centering silence, let us pause on this day of flowers. Let us sit quietly amongst flowers here today and feel their presence, their beauty, and their joyful calm. Let us sit with the flowers and listen to the sound of the singing bowl. Special treat this morning, we also have a ceremonial ringing of a gong. This is the first time it's been sounded in the sanctuary, and today Christoph has volunteered to do the honors. He'll be assisting us. Randy and Ira brought their gong in from their home a couple of weeks ago for the service in the parlor, but we really wanted to hear what it sounded like in this space. So they agreed to keep it here a little bit longer, and here we go. If you're wondering what that beep is, I was just informed it's my battery that's padded is dying on my mic. So during the first hymn, we will be addressing that. But first we're going to light the chalice. I have some assistants this morning coming down to help me light the chalice. So please come forward. And I think Cindy is going to help out on this as well. Sometimes it helps to have a whole group working together on something like this. We light the chalice today for the joy of flowers and children, and for the inner garden of flowers that flourishes in the hearts of each of us this morning. We are going to sing our opening hymn, number 29, joyful majority. We're also going to be bringing down flowers from the back of the church front during this hymn, and I'm going to change my mind. Let us stand as you are. For our reading this morning, we're doing a traditional flower communion reading in the back of our book, page 723. This is written by Norbert Tchaikovsky, a minister of Unitarian Church in Hungary. And we are going to alternate the paragraphs. I'll start out in the first, and then we'll alternate. In the name of Providence, which implants in the seed the future of the flower, and in our hearts the longing for people to live in harmony.
In the name of the highest, in whom we move, who makes us the mother and father, brother and sister, lover and loner, what they are.
In the name of sages and great religious leaders who sacrificed their lives to hasten the coming of the age of mutual respect.
Let us renew our resolution, sincerely to be real brothers and sisters, regardless of any kind of bar which estranges us from each other.
In this holy resolve, may we be strengthened, knowing that we are God's family, that one Spirit, the Spirit of love, unites us and endeavor for a more perfect and more joyful life. Amen. So this morning we are welcoming new members. It seems to be the perfect type of service to combine with flower communion to add new members. It's like adding flowers, doing work in the garden, planting new flowers this time of year. So as part of our service today, we are joyful to recognize 5 new members coming to UU Houlton Church. I'm going to read their names, and please come down, and we're going to line up across the front of the church, and assisted by our fine moderator, Dale Houlton. Joyce Transu, B. Rivers, Catherine Harnish, Emily Transu, and Reagan Nelson. This is a totally unrehearsed, casual ceremony you are about to witness. This is one of my favorite jobs as a minister of the church, as we meet new people coming in the door, and at some point welcoming them to sign the book as part of the official process. But again, just becoming a member of the belongingness. When anyone walks in the door, it's a part of that group for the day. This is a step in addition to formalizing that process, and we're welcoming each of you here today. So, you'll notice there's candles behind you on the altar. We're going to have you each light one of those candles while I say a few words to the congregation. So this will give you some time to get all 5 candles lit. This is an intention of yours to join our modest and friendly society here in Houlton, Maine. Each candle an indicator of the light that you bring in life to our group. This is a great group. They're already innovating, finding ways to light the candles of joy and concern. It was Krishnamurti who once said, "Truth is a pathless land." When he broke with the Theosophical Society in 1929, he said, "I maintain that no organization can lead an individual to spirituality. You cannot depend on your spirituality for someone else, or for your happiness on someone else, or for your enlightenment on someone else." As Unitarian Universalists, we are also skeptical of organizations, yet we associate together and aspire to assist each other in this pursuit of these high ideals. No one is going to do it for us, but perhaps we can help each other out along the way. They're still working on this, so what I'd like to do, they'll be getting a welcoming letter note in just a moment. There's 2 versions of this, alternate A and B, and it says, "We would like to welcome you as a member of our religious community. This is not a perfect place, but we're trying to make it a good place to be. We all need the consistent love and support that each of us can offer to each other. And we are so glad you have joined us." Alternate B, "We would like to welcome you as a member of our religious community, UU Houlton. We hope this becomes a place where you can investigate the expanse of the universe and the depth of your own soul. Love is all is love. We're so glad that you joined us." You'll be getting either version A or B in just a moment. Dale, we have a script 2 of us are going to run through. We are grateful today for each of you that you have found your way here, that you have decided to make a commitment to this modest faith community.
We hope that as members of this church, you will allow yourselves to know and to be known, to minister to and to be ministered unto, to love and to be loved by this congregation.
In the bonds of fellowship and love, we unite to cultivate reverence.
To promote spiritual growth and ethical commitment, to minister to each other's needs and to those of humanity.
To celebrate sacred moments of life's passage and to honor the holiness at the heart of human. This is time for your cue, your part of the ceremony. You'll find in the bulletin there is a congregational response. Be ready when I give you the invitation. Also, do it as loudly and as welcoming as you can. Together, we welcome you
with joy and open wide the circle of our community.
a round of applause. During coffee hour today or during the picnic, you will receive a hug or a handshake or a friendly gesture from everyone here in the congregation. We also have gifts for you. Actually, Nicole has already passed out the complimentary coffee mugs. This is an NPR National Press Club tradition that every member gets their own travel coffee mug. Again, leftover from the Eclipse 2024 Cup Cafe. Also, the welcoming card ready. There's also the official Houlton membership card. These are old. It has the Unitarian Society of Houlton, which is our historic reference and is found in our safety deposit box at the bank. That concludes our ceremony. Again, a welcoming round of applause. Dale is playing, it's a marvelous piece, Tiptoe Through the Trees. And I'm not sure if it came back. Are you up for a little tiptoeing with the auto play? The pishka is on that table as well as a Billy fun jar and organ fun jar is back at the table. The union tunes are going to be assembling for the next piece immediately following the offering. Let us give with hearts of gladness. title of the homily this morning is The Lesson of a Flower. The message is inspired by the line in Barbara Kingsolver's poem, Look Hard at a Single Glorious Thing. She mentions a flower, a red geranium, and while I don't think we have a red geranium in our flower communion basket, we do have a wide variety of other flowers in the basket and on the altar and in this space this morning. Any one of these flowers could preach you a sermon this morning. It would probably be quicker, more eloquent, and less verbose than the one I'm about to deliver, and I'll try to keep that in mind as I go. But each flower has this to say. It's called The Lesson of a Flower, and it comes in two parts. The first part is attuned to nature. And the second part is attuned to humanity. As you know, one of my favorite poets is Mary Oliver and motorcycles riding by in church here in the middle of the sermon. And she has this to say about this in her book of essays titled Upstream, published in 2006. In these essays, it gives you an inside look as to why so many of her poems are written about nature. And she certainly never ran out of material. Quote, how wonderful that the universe is beautiful in so many places and in so many ways. The universe is full of radiant suggestion. Over and over in the butterfly, we see the idea of transcendence. In the forest, we see not the inert, but the aspiring. In water that departs forever and forever returns, we experience eternity. Unquote. While the poet writes about nature, or the artist paints, or the photographer photographs nature, nature itself speaks without using words. Nature hints at what lies behind or beyond it. I think that's why hiking, sailing, biking, or just sitting under a tree or laying at the beach is such a restorative experience. Oliver says, the universe is full of radiant suggestion. You can talk about it if you want, but there are better ways to approach that which cannot be approached. What's important is to connect, to feel, to appreciate the wonder and beauty of each and any expression of the natural world. Select anything you want and look hard at a single glorious thing. In that, you will see what you perhaps have not seen before. In that, you will feel what you perhaps have not felt before. This is a journal entry from June of 2002. Linda and I have a frog living in our spring box. Since we don't have a refrigerator at the cabin, we have a duck spring a short distance away with a 30-gallon plastic Rubbermaid garbage can sunk into it with drill holes inside to allow the water in and the water out. Now, I don't know how the frog got inside, but he appears to be perfectly happy. Each time I lift the lid to get something out of the spring box, there he is, sitting on top of a jar of pasta sauce or pickles. The water is ice cold, even in the middle of summer, so I can see why he likes to hang out on mini floating platforms. I know it's kind of odd to have something living in your refrigerator, but at least he doesn't eat much. It's also become part of my morning routine. Walk to the spring with a jug of milk, lift the lid, and say, good morning, frog. Part 2 of the flower lesson is attuned to humanity. I'd like to note that there's an asterisk by part 2, indicating that the degree of difficulty is much higher when compared to part 1. A frog in your refrigerator is much easier to work with Linda and I first met, we took a summer trip that we called the Woodstock to Woodstock to Woodstock tour. This included starting in the cross-border towns of Houlton, Woodstock, New Brunswick, driving to Woodstock, New York, then to Woodstock, Vermont, and returning to Houlton and Woodstock, New Brunswick. From Woodstock to Woodstock to Woodstock Loop. We stopped along our way in New Paltz, New York, where Linda had worked at SUNY, State University of New York. That's also where she first started studying yoga and became a yoga teacher. I had just been hired by the Unitarian Society of Houlton, and part of my agenda for the trip was to equip my new office downstairs in the stone room. And New Paltz and Woodstock, New York were great places to shop for interesting items. We were in the New Paltz bookstore, of course. As I'm looking at a book I'm holding, I look to my left, and there's a man bowing to me. As a Unitarian Universalist minister, I'm not used to that sort of thing happening very often. It turns out there's a significant Tibetan refugee population in New Paltz, and this man, out of a sign of respect and honor, is bowing to the book I'm holding, which was written by the Dalai Lama. He kept bowing to me and saying, "Holy man, holy man." Feeling a bit uncomfortable, I placed the book back on the bookshelf, and he went on his way. A few minutes later, I went back and purchased the book, which I have right here today. It's titled Live in a Better Way, Reflections on Truth, Love, and Happiness by His Holiness, the Dalai Lama. And there's this amazing picture of the Dalai Lama on the front, which the Tibetan maiden was bowing to. Every time I look at this book and read a passage from it, it reminds me of this amazing encounter at a little bookstore, and how it's not a bad way to approach everyone we meet during the course of our day. Here are two short parallel experiences by two different spiritual writers who noticed the same amazing thing. The first is by Thomas Merton, out of his journal entry March 18, 1958, in Conjections of a Guilty Bystander, when he was in Louisville, Kentucky, on a shopping trip. In Louisville, at the corner of 4th and Walnut, in the center of the shopping district, I was suddenly overwhelmed with the realization that I loved all these people, that they were mine and I theirs, that we could not be alien to one another, even though we were total strangers on the street. It was like waking from a dream of separateness, of spurious self-isolation into a special world. This sense of liberation from an illusionary difference was such a relief and such a joy to me that I almost laughed out loud. I had the immense joy of being a member of the human race, as if the sorrows and stupidities of the human condition could overwhelm me. Now I realize what we all are. And if only everybody could realize this, but it cannot be explained. There's no way of telling people that they are all walking around shining like the sun. If only they could all see themselves as they really are. If only we could see each other that way all the time. And a Ken Wilber journal entry from April 18, 1997, from his book, One Taste. Yesterday I sat in a shopping mall for hours, watching people pass by, and they were all as precious as green emeralds. The occasional joy in their voices, but more often the pain in their faces, the sadness in their eyes, the burden burdensome slowness of their paces, but I registered none of them. I saw only the glory of green emeralds and radiant shining ones walking everywhere. And there was no eye to see any of this, but the emeralds are there just the same. The dirt on the sidewalk, the rocks in the street, the cries of the children, here and there, a literal paradise in a shopping mall. And who would ever have suspected? Both of these writers considered their experience to be a breakthrough moment in how they viewed themselves and how they viewed everyone around them. The remainder of their writings after that, you pick up on these inner themes and insights. Everyone has found astronomical value, and yet many of us probably don't realize it. And we live and struggle with life, distancing ourselves from others who are probably doing the same thing to themselves and others. And all of it is so unnecessary. Our first UU principle out of the original 7 was, it affirms the inherent worth and dignity of each person. This is the basic truth that each of us need to experience. We need to know our value. We need to know and experience love. When we experience that, love opens in us and we open into love. Our new UU shared value, most closely aligned with this concept, would be equity, with love at its center. We are all equal. We each have equal value and access to direct source, and that source is love at the center. In Buddhism, they say you have seen your own true nature. In Christianity, you realize you are a child of God. This is in stark contrast to the cruelty we face right now in the world and in our own country. The lesson of the flower calls us to the simplicity of what is most important. Do not be distracted by the anger, the fear, the whirl of confusion and the outrageous. Use the negative energy of the day to transform it into the higher state of inclusion, justice, and compassion. When we walk in the garden of life with an open heart, every flower of our gaze falls upon, comes alive, and beckons us to extend that affection to all things. There is no place for partiality when our soul embraces the all. Even the crude and distasteful find a holding place in our awareness, a holding place that in time transforms even the most resistant. In a world of both beauty and pain, we are alive to the wonder of it all. With each breath, we are living evidence of liberation. Walking in the garden of life, we walk in love. We walk with a deep connection to all that exists. We walk in harmony. We walk with great appreciation. We walk in wonder of it all. On this Flower Communion Sunday, we embrace birds and frogs and small flowers, and we look to each other and we see just what we need to see. It doesn't need to be perfect. We can each be just as we are, and just that is fine as it is. And that is the community of us all, and we abide in this moment and on this day as one, a flower in the garden of inclusion. Blessed are we all. We are going to practice with the flowers, with our flower communion ceremony. So this is a liturgy developed by Martha Newman back in the 1990s, and we've been using it for our flower communion service ever since on early Sunday of June. We also have a Unitarian holy water, which will be blessing the flowers with this morning for today's ceremony. It comes from our in-gathering service, and we use this for other events during the course of the year. So how this works, I'm going to say a few of the liturgical readings. There's a prayer by Martha Newman. I will bless the flowers, and then we will, our flower people will assist by taking the flower baskets and also the vase. You can select a flower from the vase. And the only rule on this is you cannot take the same flower that you brought to the ceremony. Okay. And this year, the basket is full and overflowing with colors. Dale will be playing music as flower people go around the congregation. It's a meditative, celebratory, reflective. Take your time looking at it to find just the right flower that you're resonating with. It's this lesson of a flower that you can hold on this day. Here's our reading. This congregation is made up of many individuals contributing in many ways. As no two flowers are alike, so no two people are alike. Yet everyone, in unique, giving as you do, make up the bouquet of this congregation. By exchanging flowers, we signify that we walk together in search of truth, disregarding that which might divide. Let these flowers be our sadness and our joy, our troubles and our good times, our moments of despair and laughter. Let them be the wonder and mystery of this one life that we share. Martha's prayer. We have brought these flowers as symbols of our gathered humanity. Now let us share, each taking a different flower that we brought as a symbol of our shared life and of our hope and trust in one another. May we be steady in the ways of peace and gentleness, like a little flower. Peace and gentleness. Peace and gentleness. Beauty. Uniqueness. Life force. Peace and gentleness. Ready when you are, Dale. You look like a beautiful flower garden out there. Thank you, Emily and Reagan, for being our flower people. A benediction. And now may we leave this place with simple wonder in our hearts and a flower in our hand. The world lies before us and awaits the joy of our King.
We want to thank everybody for tuning in today. If you'd like to show your support, please hit the like button, subscribe to our channel if you're not already subscribed, and help us out by sharing this message by clicking the share button. If you'd like to make a monetary donation to U Church Houlton, there is a link to our online donations in the video description down below. And again, thank you so much and have a blessed day.